don't get the sense that there's visibility and permanency and the things that the development market can respond to. So if 50% has to be, then 50% can also not be. And there's some places where it just will not work. There's no way to get a dedicated lane here. But that's where some of these angles come in, where you can do other kinds of things. In addition to that, it's important that the community start to understand that there really is a difference between enhanced bus and BRT, and probably keep them distinct, not mix the two terms all that much. But admit that we got a lot of buses out there, we got a lot of road, we can't turn it all into this extreme street makeover. But I still think there's room to say, yeah, but we can do a few extreme street makeovers, and in that case we will definitely get a dedicated lane where it's going to make sense.
I'm not arguing that point. I think it's a very valid point, and we've got to build up incrementally with our buses and our bus system, and not because there's a propensity, desire to jump right away and go to light rail. And I understand that concern of the time period and cost, but at the same time, I am concerned that we're saying that the BRT can be implemented, you know, in the next 2 weeks. And so I think we have to be careful about how we pitch that, how it goes to the public, particularly in this area. Many of the things you talked about have been implemented here. We've got the couplet right here in downtown Raleigh. I mean, you're sitting on it. Wilmington, Salisbury Street, with the Fayetteville Street, we took a pedestrian wall out and made it a two-way street. We've been wildly successful. I think most people would agree in Raleigh. We looked at one-way streets. We made a decision to take all the east-west streets and make them two-way, leave some of the north-south workforce streets. So there's a lot of that similar stuff here, but I just want to, I am concerned that we're kind of preempting a lot of the planning process and putting in some people's mind the idea that we can get all the benefits and not looking at the long term, some of the larger major investments, and a major investment in a BRT or other investments are going to still have to be on the table.
Couple other, if I could add, some of that's on me. I focus so much on
You're a street guy, Joe.
I try to be a bus person, too, but I'm really trying to focus on the result here. Let's get the bus there as fast as, you know, make an aggressive schedule and get the bus there to meet it. And we'd call it flying on the moon if we want. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Just get the bus there on time. So I lack marketing acumen. So to the extent that I'm causing that confusion in my slide, it's just because I'm just too focused on it.
Well, no,
let's just get the bus there.
I think we just need to make sure that we're looking at these as a...
Well, back to that, it's important to have sometimes it's important to have a staged strategy. Say,
absolutely,
the extreme street makeover is our target, but what we can do within the next year is a couple of small things that start to create that momentum that moves us there. And the message I hope really came through was to say, if you want to have a dedicated lane and this extreme makeover kind of a thing eventually on some streets, these ellipses and other kinds of, they improve the efficiency of the other lanes so much that it becomes the political tool that makes it possible to actually take an existing lane and move it over into the transit column.
Very good. What other questions do we have? The next one, Jerry.
Just a real quick one. Those communities that have kind of engaged or had projects started, innovative intersection, things of that nature, how did they go about resolving some of the community concerns and objections that are paramount probably on every type of project like this? How do they overcome such obstacles like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll talk about what I know and maybe Mike bring in what Utah has done. Progress has been slow in innovative intersections, slower certainly than I wished or hoped, and a lot of that has been community political opposition, some of that just because it's an unknown, and some of it when we really do look at what it means, and you know, what do you mean I can't drive across directly from one side of the street to the other anymore, you know, based on real consequences. And the places that have been successful overcoming that I know of have been to try to peel that back a little bit. It's, you know, in a true negotiation, what's your real concern, and then how can we modify if we need to overcome that concern, and still, if it is connecting from this side of the road to that one, to make sure that can still be done quickly. and without kind of sacrificing the overall concept that we're proposing to still make that connection. So it's always, in my experience, some type of negotiation and a little bit of give back without sacrificing the concept. Good graphics and animations work well, good numbers work well, and then marketing acumen too. Let's call it something. Get out of the super street business and call it something that has a positive spin. Sure helps too, but a good negotiation as well.
Yeah, I've watched this phenomenon occur in Utah, and I've been just stunned by it, actually. The entire transportation community culture now, the DOT and everybody, they approach every intersection with this thought in mind: how can I get rid of left turns? That's the first thing that comes to their mind on any project. And I don't even think it was by requirement. It's just every engineer thinks that way now. What's the way I can do that? And part of the way this turned out successful, because the public was apprehensive, everybody's always apprehensive about the first in their community. They're even more apprehensive when they look around the country and say, what, there are none of these? Then why would I want to be the first one to build one, you know? And how long has it been in the books? 20 years. Then why are there none? And part of the reason for that was lack of simulation. The computer tools are now so good that it's what you see is what you get. That's kind of what. So when they started building the animations and took them to our DOT directors, they said, this is the future without it, this is the future with it. They said, well, it sure looks weird, but I'll be darned, it's flowing, it's working. Let's try one. So they built one, and it was it works really well. They did a major marketing campaign in advance to try to educate the public and get everybody used to it, showing the animations so that people felt like, okay, I'm going to have to do something weird and scary, but I can see and I'm trusting you that it's going to work, and it'll get rid of the delay around here.
If you haven't seen some of Utah's marketing materials, they are superb. They're clearly the country's leader as far as that goes, of creating almost Hollywood-style movie clips to
That's
display
essential.
these.
Anytime you're going to deploy first in state kind of a thing, you got to go over the top on the aesthetics of it, the layout of it, the functionality. You got to guarantee this is going to work, and it's going to get a good reception through public education, as well as the design itself has got to be. Spend more money on it. Later you can spend less money, but on the first one, spend more, because you may not get a chance to build a second one if you don't do a good first one. No.
Question, Joe?
And I might pick up, because a couple things Michael said in there that I think are real important is, he said over and over, this is not about pumping more cars. It's still a slow speed. You're trying to recapture maybe some of that pavement for other things. And so I think it's kind of like the difference between an enhanced bus and BRT. What's the difference between a couplet and a one-way pair? So to me, this is not a couplet. This is a one-way pair, because what you're doing is you're using a lot of that pavement to pump cars pretty fast through there. And so I think couplets make sense in the right application. They add for all the users there. But you're gonna have to overcome the fear of folks if you want to do a couplet somewhere, that they're going to think one-way pair, and I've got 3 lanes of fast-moving traffic trying to get through those signals as quickly as possible, and you got to have red light cameras even to slow them down. So I think those design details are going to be real important, and the first application of any of these things is going to be real important, and you have to go overboard to add the amenities, the things that will counteract the fear. So I think those are, I like all this. And it just worries me when budgets get tight and what gets cut
Yep.
for what it's worth.
That's right. I think, what time is it?
About 7 minutes.
Okay, we got time for a couple more? 2 more? Any others? Okay. Well, let's give our speakers another round of applause. both going to be here afterwards for a few moments, take additional one-on-one questions if you'd like, and I have a couple final pieces of information just to provide. Our next session for the Innovation Series will also be in person, and this will be a little bit different than we've done over the first 5. This is about circular innovations and the last mile problem for transit. This is something that does not exist, at least in the concept they're working on, but a couple folks at NC State, I think you may know one or both of them, Seth Haller and Marshall Brain, are working on a personal rapid transit concept, so I thought you might find this of interest. We also have another session coming up, this will be via WebEx, on bus rapid transit and economic development, and that'll be on Wednesday, and actually a couple professors from the University of Utah will be joining us. More information about this series is always available at letsgetmoving.org/transit series, and about bus rapid transit in general at letsgetmoving.org/BRT. And you can always email Natalie or myself for any questions, or to RCP for a future session. The slides for this presentation are going to be posted here by the middle of the afternoon today, so they'll be available with a PDF slide for you now. Thank you for mine. One more thing in terms of getting information out, the Transit Innovation Series is certainly one way to do that, for all of us to learn together and discover new options. One other thing that we're doing this year, as we've done in years past, is a leadership briefing and tour. This year we're going to the cities of Carmel and Indianapolis, Indiana on Sunday, April 27th and Monday, April 28th. Various concepts, including rapid transit, roundabouts were mentioned today, even that breezeway concept of being able to go underneath an existing street. There's one that looks like that. And also land use and urban design. So many of these concepts, along with the conversation about transit in Indianapolis, a city that's not too different from us in many ways, and some of the questions they're going through, exploring rail and bus rapid transit for their major corridors. For some of the sessions, we'll also be with the Raleigh Chamber's intercity visit for several of the sessions too. If you're interested in going, you can talk to Natalie or myself afterwards, or visit the website letsgetmoving.org/tour for all the logistics and specifics. But I would encourage you to consider going if you have an interest. At this time, again, we're done with our time, and we are on time, which is the way we like to do it. So as always, let's get moving, and thank you for coming. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Put this together.
Process is having a traffic
Well, a lot. There used to be an advantage. There wasn't good software that was control us to do, so you just kind of go out there and say, okay, those guys look like they need a few more sections. And then you walk away and the situation changes, and 6 months later, and the guy's not around anymore. So there's a lot of dynamics in there. So sometimes they'll have a little microwave ray detector around people. Okay, thank you. Thanks for raising it. If there's some still coming, and it can keep it green for those if there's coming. Sometimes they'll still override those for progression on the street anyway. But one of the things that just is, well, there's a few realities. One is it's still a government operation.
Okay, say no more. No. I mean, it's not.
Well, for that by itself is one reason why things don't work as well as they should. And another is anytime you go to a street, you can give everybody in this direction pretty good green time to run, but you won't be able to give the people in the opposite direction. Crossing bands. That's an attempt to try to give green time to both spaces, and you can hit the middle, but sometimes the public can't tell that that's the best you can do.
Right.
And it kind of is the best. So even with all of the technology and everything like that, we almost have to admit.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is that in the answer I'm getting in my head is that there hasn't been much done at all with that. With the technology that probably could, where I guess I would call it smart traffic signals. STS, smart traffic signals.
But even the smartest traffic signal can only do so much when it has too much to do.
Yeah.
This is why we were talking about this, is let's be even smarter with our traffic signals and not require one signal to do so many jobs.
No, I mean, this is all, trust me, this is what I thought was wonderful.
Yeah.
It's all very, very efficient. And it makes all the sense in the world to keep things flowing.
So what's your role here?
Well, my role here is I run the manpower office, and
That's why
one
I'm
of the
here
things for us is
preaching in Detroit.
trying to
because
get
they-
people to work on time.
No,
Trying to keep that flow on time. So the interest here is to figure out the plans, what's going on, what's the growth patterns for those people. I grew up in San Jose. I spent the last 20 years in San Diego before moving out here a couple years ago. So I can already see the dynamic that's taking place here. The same challenges in San Diego.
Fast growth.
Oh, yeah. And so I see that I look at it, okay, what happens is going to impact where I should focus my efforts on business, on helping other businesses, staffing, where trying not to staff. I'm always going to just be calling on like, oh, your employees are late for work. Oh, they didn't make it. Oh, they're part of it.
The one in Chapel Hill,
Can't serve those clients
pavement for the cars.
unless we can get it going. So the educational portion of it is to, like we had somebody downtown, and they said, parking downtown's a nightmare, it costs too much, I don't make enough to park downtown. So we sent them out to the free bus line, right? And so we said, well, you can park here for free, and then take that in, and that's all you're parking. And it's been working.
That actually, I love that concept. What you do is you create peripheral parking that's free or cheap, because you don't really want to fill your whole center of town with tons of parking garages. You can't get the cars in there in the first place, and even if you do, it's pretty unwalkable at that point. So you do a shuttle around the downtown that has pretty high frequency, so that people feel like they can park within 5 minutes along that shuttle.
Right, exactly.
I gotta run. I just
your
wanted to
time.
thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Steve and Paradise, great to meet you.
Ed, good to meet you as well.
Take care.
Steve, thanks for coming today.
My pleasure, Joe. Anyway, Mike. Oh, great. Yeah.
Oh, is that one? They gave me one. I got a different one.
Excellent. Yeah, it's.